Hello and welcome back to another episode of the 90 Plus 2 podcast. I'm your host today, Xander, and as always, I'm joined by Jamie. And over the weekend, Plymouth Argyle announced their new head coach, Wayne Rooney. Well, Jamie, Wayne Rooney is the new head coach, Plymouth Argyle. Your thoughts?
Indeed, yep. I couldn't quite believe it, to be honest, when it was first being rumoured last week. I figured there was always probably a chance, given the links to Dewsnip, obviously.
Yeah.
It's absolutely no secret that Argyle love a Scouser at the moment, but
yeah, definitely.
I didn't think it was ever going to truly materialise, to be honest. The amount of stick he was getting on Twitter was ridiculous as well. I saw a lot of people doing those, like, you can't predict the table already, Plymouth 24th with Rooney, like that type of thing. And then obviously finally on Saturday, when it was rumoured to be announced, it was like he was at the FA Cup final. So again, nobody thought it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then halfway through the broadcast, obviously he was announced. I think after some time has passed, initially last week when it was first rumoured, I wasn't happy at all.
Yeah.
Obviously, given his record with Birmingham, which we'll talk about in a minute. Obviously, he didn't do too bad at Derby again. We'll mention it in a minute.
No, he did quite well there, yeah.
Now some time has passed, I think I am quite excited for it, to be completely honest. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I'd say in the beginning I was quite, I don't know, I didn't think it was probably the right appointment given what he'd done. Skeptical, given what he'd done at Birmingham. But no, I think it's a brilliant appointment. You know, obviously he's a massive name, not just in English football, in world football. And I think he can only sort of put Plymouth Argyle on the map, really. I mean, like, to have a name like Rooney associated with the club is incredible. But as you said, like, you didn't expect it to be him. I never expected it to be him. I thought it was going to be Paul Heckingbottom all the way.
Yeah. Rosenior as well was so
Rosenior, Anthony Barry as well. I mean, it could have been anyone really, but Rooney just sort of came out of nowhere last minute, and he's now the new
Rooney
head coach.
At the back post. Rooney at the back post.
Literally.
90 plus 2. I mean, I think, like I said, I was very sceptical to begin with. We can talk about his record at Birmingham most recently. So I've got it here. Obviously, we'll put it up on the screen. So there was 15 games. He only had 15 games in charge of Birmingham. He only won 2, drew 5, and obviously then lost 9.
Yeah.
During that period, 15 goals were scored and 30 were conceded. And obviously on paper, that looks really bad. And a lot of people have said that they blame him for Birmingham's relegation. But I feel like that is a bit harsh when you need to look behind the scenes and think he was only brought in after the end of the transfer window. He had no chance to sign any players. As Lineker said to him on the Match of the Day broadcast, he said, how's it going to feel to finally sign a player? And I feel like he was hard done by there because the expectation was so big when he came in because Birmingham were obviously off the back of doing well under Eustace. Yeah. And then it was a stupid appointment by Birmingham to sack Eustace to bring in Rooney, the big name thing. Yeah, but I feel like that's not exactly what Argyle are going for in terms of they're not just doing him for like on face value. They had the chance with all of these other candidates, as like Simon Hallett has not shied away from. There was plenty of people who applied for it. So I feel like we have to trust the board on this one and hope that they've got it right. But obviously, if they haven't, it could be curtains for Dewsnip as well.
Yeah, I think definitely if this appointment goes wrong, considering what happened with Foster, the fans could start to turn on the board, which would be a shame because since Hallett came in, you know, he's been very well perceived. I'd probably say he's been
rosy.
Like you never really get that relationship between the supporters and the owner. I'd probably say Brighton, Brentford, maybe, and obviously some of the top clubs. You get that good relationship between the board and the fans. But if it doesn't go well, it could start to get a bit sour at home park. But also, you talk about the records there. Obviously, his record at DC United as well. 53 games, 14 wins, 14 draws, 25 defeats.
It's not the best.
It's not the best.
But again, DC aren't one of the big hitters in the league, are they?
No, they're not. Not anymore. I mean, I feel like the club was in potentially quite a transitional period when he's come in.
But he did really brilliantly there as a player, didn't he? I remember.
Yeah, he did. And that one really good assist as well when he was like over the halfway line.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking about. Yeah,
brilliant. He was a brilliant player there, but as well as he was at Derby. But I think DC, their owners also own Swansea, and like they're not the best in terms of putting money into the club. It's very much a make as much money as they can for themselves, but still put some money into the club. So he maybe didn't have the best backing there, which you could put down to them not doing so well. But DC United, like you said, they're not really one of the big hitters. They used to be back in the day, but not anymore.
Yeah.
So he hasn't really been at a club where they can properly go for it yet.
No, and the one that we'll talk about as well, obviously, Derby. I remember when he was at Derby, I was a massive advocate for Rooney there because he did a brilliant job to keep them up that first time round.
Yeah.
Considering the point deductions and everything, I think it was something like if they hadn't had the point deductions, they would have been like 15th or 14th or something.
Yeah.
Like he did so well. I know he obviously had a good squad and whatever, but he did really well there. And I feel like that's kind of been skimmed over in recent times. Obviously, it's like they always talk about like recency bias. It can be the opposite way in terms of whatever's happened recently puts like a bad taste in your mouth for him. Obviously, a load of Birmingham fans are saying, "Oh, unlucky Plymouth, you're finishing last" and everything. But I feel like the key thing that this whole thing's going to be about is the recruitment. What type of players can he attract to the club?
Yeah, because
already I've heard rumours of different players and whatever, like think about the links he has with Man United and Everton and whatever. Every English player will know who Rooney is. And
exactly, yeah.
As a striker especially, you think about the impact this could have on the careers of like Ben Wayne or Hardy or even young Freddie Asaka. You'd be absolutely foaming at the mouth to have the chance of being managed by England's, he was our top ever goal scorer, wasn't he? I think Kane is now, but
most caps as well.
Man United's top ever goal scorer.
Exactly. Yeah.
Obviously, winner of Premier League titles and
Champions Leagues.
Like, what type of team is he going to have behind him as well? Like I've heard rumors of Mike Phelan and Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah,
it'd be unbelievable.
Huddleston. Yeah,
one of them's the actor.
Yeah, I think like you were saying about Huddleston and Mike Phelan there. Mike Phelan.
Huddleston, that's it.
He's been around for years. Obviously, he was
Fergie's number 2.
Yeah, manager of Hull in the Premier League as well. I don't think he did too badly there, considering he just kind of came in pretty late. But
again, deep end, he was throwing in money.
But yeah, like if he brings them two in, wealth of experience from Phelan, maybe not so much from Huddleston, but Huddleston's a young coach, and sort of young coaches who are being given a chance. That's kind of become a theme at Argyle recently in the last few years. Obviously, Ryan Lowe, that was his second job. Shuey was the assistant manager, but only before that he'd been a assistant at Bury and also interim at Southport, I think, something like that.
Yeah, good knowledge.
And then Ian Foster, again, hadn't had much coaching experience. He'd been at England, but we're giving young coaches an opportunity. That's what I'm trying to say here. Well, Ian Foster not so young, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, less said about the Foster era, the better. But I mean, they had. That's the one thing you've got to say about the board now. They came out. Simon Haller admitted he got that one wrong, obviously at the end of the season, and they had this lengthy interview process where, as we've already mentioned, the likes of, as you said, Rosenior, Heckingbottom looked nailed on for a while.
Yeah.
Even Anthony Barry, I heard even like Valerian Ishmael being thrown around.
Yeah, like, Lee Johnson.
Lee Johnson. I wouldn't have been as happy with that one.
No, I wouldn't either.
I had some crazy names thrown in the hat, and then, as you say, for Rooney to just come out of nowhere at the end, I feel like it's probably a bit of a statement of intent from Rooney as well, really, not to shy away from the fact that obviously he didn't do very well at Birmingham. That's not a secret. And it could have been quite easy for him. Obviously, you look it up, his net worth is like £170 million. Like, he wouldn't have to manage.
No, he doesn't.
I feel like this is a bit of a statement from him, to be honest, to try and prove himself. I feel like this is kind of, I think you were saying to me the other day, this is a bit of a make or break move for him as well. Because if he comes down here now, doesn't do well, then that's 2 in a row at championship level where he's been entrusted with realistically, you'd imagine Argyle, if they don't, I don't know, you'd imagine it'll probably be like a relegation / mid-table, if we're being honest.
Yeah,
again,
that's probably,
it's all about consolidating, like not having second season syndrome, all of that. So you'd imagine for Rooney, he knows all this. So as you say, coming off of the back of that less than brilliant time at Birmingham, now's his chance to prove himself.
Yeah, because I seem to remember him when he got sacked, he said about not having enough time. And obviously playing styles do take time to implement. Obviously saw that even with Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, Pep at Man City, Pochettino at Chelsea this season as well, Russell Martin at Swansea.
And now look where he is.
Yeah, now look where he is. He's a Premier League manager, and Graham Potter at Brighton as well, And sometimes these things do take time, and also depends on the players as well, because the players need to be able to play in that style of play. And I feel like now Rooney's got a whole summer ahead. I think, like with Derby, he had a whole summer to work with, one whole summer to work with them in a pre-season. So with a good pre-season, and if he can bring in the players who he needs to play his style of football and work in his system, then I think he should be fine.
Well, and again, it's no secret that the troubles he had with Birmingham with financial, he did well at bringing in good free agents and young players on loan. Obviously, Argyle aren't in any type of financial trouble, but we also don't have anywhere near the budgets of the likes of Leeds at the top of the table. So I think it'll be really interesting to see. I've heard quite a few people say already, really interested to see what type of free agents he can bring in.
Yeah.
Because you've already seen there's players who are out of contract at bigger clubs, like, for example, the likes of Billy Sharp. You'd imagine that this could be a great move for him to come down here, work under a great attacking coach, bit of experience. And I'd like to see Rooney bring in an experienced championship striker to try and help the likes of, obviously, I know Hardy didn't do badly last year at all.
No, he did well.
But again, like Whittaker, after January, obviously it was during Foster's era, they both did struggle. I think Hardy ended up going 12 games without a goal towards the end of the season. So I'd really like to see them have come off the back, have a good pre-season, and I hope that Rooney can get them firing. And then, as I've already mentioned as well, Ben Wayne is a really interesting one. Because as we mentioned in the Retained List podcast, which if you haven't listened to yet, go and give that a listen on the channel. It's doing well.
Yeah, it is very well.
And as we mentioned in there, you'd imagine Wayne would probably go on loan this year.
Yeah.
And you'd imagine even more so now because he's under contract, and Rooney undoubtedly will be looking to bring in more strikers. So even if he does stay, there's an absolute wealth of experience for him to learn off and hopefully get him firing. Because I know that the Phoenix fans, as we said, they do rate him really highly. So there should be a player in there, surely.
Yeah, I mean, he was good out there. I think, obviously he didn't play much last year. And coming into the championship straight away, I think really from playing regularly in the Australian Premier League, the A-League, is it?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, the A-League, yeah. And then coming kind of straight into the championship, that is a big difference. So I think he did well for what he did, but I think definitely a manager like Wayne Rooney could bring him on, because I'd say potentially maybe like a similar build as a striker, because Wayne Rooney's not that tall. Ben Wayne's
stocky build, didn't he?
Yeah, Ben Wayne's about 5'10", 5'11", something like that. So, I think similar heights, and I think you could only bring him on, really. And one thing I'd say is...
Wayne would need to fill out to be like Rooney, though, wouldn't he?
Yeah, but one thing I would say, though, I think obviously, I remember watching Rooney's first training session on YouTube at Birmingham, and the way he got on with the strikers as well. I think that was very key. And obviously, Jay Stansfield, fantastic player in himself, but I feel like
brilliant. I'd absolutely take him, but yeah, I think he's way too good for Argyle.
But I think Rooney really kind of helped bring the best out of him in a way. I think just the drills they did in that first video, that I mean, it's just he was putting them away. Even Lukas Jukovic looked like scoring more goals. I don't know if he actually did in the end, probably not. But I think him being a striker, he will be able to bring on the strikers, and then whoever else comes in backroom staff wise, and obviously Nance and Simon Island there as well, they can work together and hopefully make something good out of this team.
Yeah, well, I think defensively as well, we weren't really struggling too much in terms of not conceding after Foster left. It was just about putting them away, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you think, obviously, managed to keep clean sheets. So, obviously, it'll all depend on what type of squad we still have left, because obviously Cooper's been heavily rumoured to be gone. Apparently, according to Twitter, he was packing up his house and everything. So, read into that as much as you will.
Packing up his house while he's away on holiday, yeah, that's definitely packing up his house.
But yeah, I think it just will be. That's the thing I'm really excited for, is the recruitment, because obviously last year, you'd say we did do well in the recruitment department. Bringing back Mumba and Whittaker is undoubtable, but the loans killed us so much with those clauses to bring them back.
Yeah.
So it'll be so interesting to see what Rooney can do in terms of the loans from. You could imagine we could get some players from United and on loan, Everton as well, because obviously Everton managed to survive quite comfortably in the end, so they're not going to be our rivals or anything in terms of the league.
No.
So it'll be really, really interesting in terms of the recruitment, and then it'll be interesting to see as well how much of the Euro stuff he's doing in terms of the punditry.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know, because he'll probably do quite a bit, probably in June. I'd say if there's anything, he'll probably do it more in June, because I think players return on the 1st of July, actually. Yeah. So, probably when July comes, or just a little bit before July, he'll be back ready to go. And also as well, I did see, I don't know how true it is, but I did see something where it was on about him and Colleen are already looking at houses in Salcombe.
I was just about to mention that, yeah.
Moving down here already, I mean, it's a big risk considering, he could not make the 3 years, but it shows he's committed, though, and I think that's good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's not that much of a risk for him. He is worth 170 mil.
True,
but...
yeah. Well, I mean, if he's moving his family all the way down here, then...
Yeah, it is shameful that he's not buying a house in Mutley. That's what I'm saying. He needs to really experience the true Plymouth style. Get him in Barn Barton, then we'll see. He's swanning it up in Salcombe. How dare he?
Oh, no.
But yeah, I think, overall, as I say to begin with, the skepticism was there. But the more I'm thinking about it, and the more I've spoken to people, it did seem like a bit of a outlandish appointment, but I've trusted the board before, and you've got to say at least 2 out of the last 3 appointments they got right. So we've come up from League 2 in the last 5 years. So
yeah, I'd say I'd agree with that. Obviously they've done well with appointments to the last 66.6% success rate, I guess you could say, so far. But yeah, I think it's a statement. I'd say it's a statement appointment just because of his name, like Wayne Rooney, massive name. And I saw someone, I think, commenting on the announcement post saying like, "Oh, he's just using us as a stepping stone, and he'll be gone and stuff like that." And I was thinking, well, even if he does, it's Wayne Rooney. His name is now tied with Argyle forever.
So did Ryan Lowe, and so did Steven Schumacher.
Exactly. So if he does just use
service to the club whilst they were here, so
yeah, if he does use just use Argyle as a stepping stone, but does well, so what? The name Rooney is now at the club. He'll be there in the history books forever. So if
exactly.
You can attract Rooney. It can only attract bigger names, which is only a positive.
It's not the first time that Argyle have done this either in terms of a massive name appointment. Obviously, back in the 90s now, but it was Peter Shilton. And he was arguably as famous at the time as Rooney is now, because he was like one of England's record appearance holders. He came in, I was looking it up yesterday, so this isn't just like me guessing. He came in as a player manager. He didn't do amazingly, but my point is, it's not like this is a massive new thing for Argyle to bring in like big names. Obviously, we had Warnock as well after Shilton left, and then the likes of Paul Mariner as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like a lot of people have written him off before he's even started.
Yeah.
And we need to at least give him a chance. See what he does. If he doesn't have a good summer in terms of recruitment, then I mean, what more can you give him at this point? Because he's got the whole summer ahead of him.
Exactly.
I feel like they've got that's the one thing I will give the club credit for, is they've done it at the right time. They haven't let it go on any longer to let people be wondering or whatever about who it's going to be when they're going to come in. So I'll give them credit. They've got it done now. It's before the Euros as well. So now go forth and sign some Man United players, please.
Yeah. Well, would you say that's everything?
I'd say, I think the only thing we haven't spoken about is his record at Derby, which is actually not that bad. So I feel like
let's finish on that then.
Quickly mention that, yeah. So there's 85 games at Derby in the end. 24 won, 22 drawn, 39 lost. However, obviously that is tainted by the fact of they were in really bad financial dire straits at the time. So
because when he came in, he replaced Philip Koku, maybe November time 2020. Came in, obviously he was still a player then, because not too long before that he was scored a penalty in I can't remember if they beat or lost Norwich. But yeah, he was still playing, just sort of came in, thrown in again at the deep end, kept them up on the final day with a 1-1 draw against Sheffield Wednesday. And then the following season, obviously, they had all the points deductions and they were completely written off, really, Derby. So I'd say, in a way, maybe the fact that there was very little pressure on them did help, because they could just kind of go out there, play with a bit of freedom, because realistically they kind of knew they were down. And I think I looked and I worked out, with the points deductions they had at the halfway mark of the season, if they didn't have those points deductions, they would have been 10th. And with the squad he had as well, considering they had a lot of young players in there, like at the time, like Festi Abaselli, who is now playing in Serie A.
Was Max Bird there at the time, or is that too early?
I think Max Bird was there. Louis Sibley was there. Josh Knight as well. You know, he's now gone to play for Bristol City, as is Max Bird. Louis Sibley's still there. Ravel Morrison.
A bit more of an experienced one. He's
experienced
definitely not a young
player, but no, he's experienced, but like a brilliant player as well.
Ironically, as soon as Rooney comes in, it's the first season that Derby are back in the Championship as well.
I know.
So we'll be able to play them.
Yeah.
Imagine if we got Derby first game of the season and then Birmingham second game of the season. That'd be crazy.
Well, we're not playing Birmingham.
Oh, no, true, actually. Sorry, yeah. Yeah, actually. Well, in the Cup.
In the Cup, I know. I'm hoping. That's what I said.
What I meant.
I was saying to my dad yesterday, I was like, I hope Argyle get Birmingham in the Carabao Cup and then they'll beat them or something. It'll be just funny if they won, just because the Birmingham fans will be absolutely outraged. But
they all hate him, yeah. I don't think you can't blame him completely for that. It's not his fault, is it?
No,
he only managed them for 16 games.
He was just brought in as a big name. I don't think.
Yeah,
that's just a poor appointment on the owner's part. Obviously he's not going to turn down work. Yeah, he's not going to turn down work, is he? Like if you get an opportunity to come manage Birmingham. I mean, they've been in the Championship for quite a few years. Well, they were in the Championship for quite a few years, but they're still quite a big name club. So you're not going to turn that down. But just wasn't the right appointment at that time. I saw
a really good tweet. The one thing I will end on, I saw a really good tweet from a Bolton fan, and it said, fair play to Wayne Rooney. He single-handedly kept Plymouth Argyle up last year. Let's hope he can do it again next year.
Yeah, I saw that. I did see that. That's quite funny. Oh,
that's
dear.
cracking.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think that's about it. Really, we've been quite pro Rooney here.
Yeah. As always.
I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited for it. Like I said,
excited.
It's the recruitment that's getting me really excited, and the idea of good attacking football again after those dark days of our last Scouser. So yeah, bring on. Who've any friendlies announced yet? Do you know?
No, I don't think there has been any. I'm waiting for that. I want to know. I want to know who we're playing.
Yeah, hopefully, like they usually do like Torquay, Parkway. There'll probably be a Spanish tour or something.
Hopefully, a few games in Spain.
Wayne's out with the boys in Marbella.
he'll be like, yeah. Anyway, so
thank you very much for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening. That brings another episode to an end. If you want to watch our retained list episode, that is on our channel, and also don't forget to like and subscribe, and do all that. Goodbye.